Sad story.
Surprise!
How unusual.
You said it was about a one-night stand?
Yeah, I thought this was the one. For real.
Uh-oh.
All right, here's the story.
Wait, let me get some more
Do we need
wine.
the tissues?
Yes.
This was well, not that long ago. Yeah, it was Run Run Run. It was 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. And okay, in the end of the '90s, I was in a band with this big record deal. We were traveling all over. The record never came out because of some politics that I don't want to get into. But we had played at a place in Birmingham, Alabama, a little biker bar. And we did a whole tour of the South before we actually got some money and got to get on some big tours and stuff. And this place is still there. It's called the Nick in Birmingham. And they've got the publicity photos, the 8x10s or whatever, from the 90s. I don't know why the 90s, and that's it. So you can go in there and you can see bands like the Lemonheads and Smashing Pumpkins and all these publicity photos from like when they were on their first tours before they would never play at the Nick ever again. And but the woman that runs it's awesome. It's the same, family-owned operation. And there was our photo from like when I had a pump, and I was in Other Star People from like 1999 or whatever. Anyway, when we were coming through the South about 3 or 4 years ago, we had like a day off. We're on our way to Nashville, and I said, just down from Nashville is Birmingham. There's this club there I used to play. I bet we could get a gig there it was a Wednesday night. So sure enough, I got the number and called, and the woman answered. She's like, I remember you guys. Why not come on down? And she said, well, we've already got the bands booked, but we'll put you guys on first if that's okay. When you're a band, this is the difference, okay? When you're in a van and you're in a band, you're homeless unless you have a show. It's the weirdest thing. If you have a show, you can walk into a restaurant or the post office or wherever you go, the gas station, and they say, what are you doing in Houston? What are you doing in Charlotte? Oh, we got a show. We're playing here tonight. Oh, and it's like the world opens up and suddenly you're not a scary, creepy homeless person in a van. Because it's the same guy in a van with tinted windows before you have a show. After you have a show, it's like, well, where are you guys staying? We don't have a place to stay. You guys want to stay at our house? We got a laundry, we got the food, and we don't take advantage of the situation, but it's wonderful. When you don't have a show, you're just not being looked at, right? So I can't tell you how many times we walked into Walmart and have somehow been taken home by these good souls around the country. It also helps that the guys in Run and Run are sweethearts. They're like little Boy Scouts. And when we get to your house, we actually cook dinner and do all the dishes for you.
Oh, so excited.
Which only once in a while.
House they were just like, wow, what do you want us to do?
We all wanted to stay in this one room in the one corner.
I was like, Nick, I have a bed upstairs. He goes, just please sleep on your couch.
Can I sleep in the room with the pool table? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
no, with that one, he was like, please,
True story.
can I just sleep on your couch? And he's like, close your ears. He came downstairs like with a towel. He just got out of the shower, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like,
They're not bad looking guys.
Oh my God.
Well, we are disappointing though that every once in a while someone's like expecting Motley Crue to come over, and we're disappointed. But we tried. But so that's the story. So we're homeless, but we get the show in Alabama now, and suddenly we got a place to go, and usually we can talk to people. So we're on first. No one's there when we play. The other guys are just kind of depressed, and so they're drinking up at the bar, and I'm watching the t-shirts. And I'm just sitting there, and in walks this girl, okay? And I'll do my best to try to describe her. But the first thing I noticed about this girl, this is a biker bar, and I mean the door, it's a scuzzy place, and the door is like full of stickers, and you can see through it. It's like wood and kind of metal. It's sort of a shack, this place. And my kind of place. And the door opens up, and through the door comes the guy, evidently the boyfriend, which I didn't know at the time, who is from Alabama, who has got solid black hair all the way down here, metal, like looks like a guitar player for Ozzy now. Okay, like I Leonard Cats, just like Black Label Society kind of guy. And I'm like, whatever. Behind him comes in this woman, and she is wearing the best coat I've ever seen. Okay, it is a fitted, like Chanel, 60s, like lime green-ish coat. You know, it's got like that pastel from the 60s, right? And I'm like, that's amazing. And she's got the same hair as Robert Plant when he was like in 1969. She's got that blonde, so strawberry, like kind of curly hair. And she just glides in. It was like this flower in the middle of this like, I was like, what is going on? And she walks over to get a drink, and then like she kind of makes her way over to the merch table, and I'm sitting there with her. And she opens up her mouth, and she sounds like a little bit like Andy McDowell.
Oh, that was my husband.
And she's got that same kind of like just southern accent. It's just really light, and we start talking, and we just connect, and she's just a sweetheart. It's wonderful. And we get to talking, whatever. And you know, this is obviously, and I'm like, I didn't want to say, what are you doing with this guy? But what are you doing with this guy? Turns out they were they grew up together. Their families are best friends. Not in Birmingham, in a little town south of Birmingham in the woods. And so they were kind of like predestined. And she had been in France, coat, right? She had left when she was about 22 or whatever, and she went out as a model. And she was there like modeling at one of the, for one of those agencies that and they had sent her to Europe.
Thank you, darling.
But she had really missed the South, and the life wasn't for her. And so she had just come home from this gig, and she's like, I'm done with that, I'm gonna go back to school. And she tried to work it out with this guy, and you could just see the two of them were just like.
They were also cousins.
Yeah, they were.
Or maybe brother and sister. Yeah.
So he was, and she was like, anyway, we kept in touch, and we became like pen pals. And we actually, even though it's like 2008 or 7 or something, we actually wrote each other letters. And we sent them and said, and we kept in touch and all this stuff. And eventually, we would come back to the South about a year later. They had broken up, and I said, we were going to start the tour in Nashville again because that's where the tour bus was. And I just might have booked us a gig in Birmingham. And might have. You guys are here. So we drove we stopped once. I think it was, we just took the 40 out. We might have stopped in Dallas, Amarillo or something, and then we started driving. And we drove all night to get to this little town. And we had one night together. And we got there and we took a walk in the woods, and she was amazing because, we had such a good time together, but she was so natural. Like, living in Los Angeles, people are so put together. Their walls are up. And I mean, not that it was like the Dukes of Hazzard or something, but when we got there, she had cut-off shorts on, a little halter top. She didn't wear shoes at all. And there was like a McDonald's in town that we kind of went through there. Just, like, I guess the guys wanted some fries or something. And we're in the drive-thru, and there was a pickup truck behind us. And she saw the guy driving the pickup truck was her friend, and she wanted to go say hi to him. And what she did, it's one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. I'm just in the driver's seat. She didn't open the car door. She actually took the hood and pulled herself out of the car. Like, pulled herself out and landed on there and walked back and talked to the guy. It was like... Anyway, we went to this bar that night and we were hanging out. It was just like, it was like a movie. It was amazing. And I fell in love with her. It was like, she's so gentle and so sweet and so giving, so kind. And it's a little more specific, but basically we got together and it was just one of those great nights. And then I was like, well, I'm coming back for this girl. So, we went up to Nashville and we continued on our tour. And I didn't hear from her. And I didn't hear from her after a couple days and a few more days. And I made her a mixtape and sent it to her, which I still have the playlist on my computer. And, some time went by and I was just sitting there thinking, I had built up this expectation that was probably unrealistic, but at the same time I thought, you know, we really had a connection. I thought this doesn't make any sense. We had such an easy day that if she said, oh, I got a boyfriend, or I don't, you know, you travel too much, something that she would have told me. But there was no word, it was just silent. And you go through these things where after a week or two, you know, you go through all these emotions, you get angry, then you get disappointed, then you're worried. What, did anything happen? Maybe she was hit by a bus. I mean, I don't know. Like, all went through all of this, you know, this wait up for you, which is kind of what that song is about. And anyway, we got to Albany, New York, where the rest of Run 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 are from. That's where they grew up, up in the Catskills. And it was a hometown gig for them. So they were with, the whole family was there. They were having a ball. They were excited. I'm like, not from LA, so I'm kind of just, now it had been warm and now it's getting cold. It's just changing into winter. And I'm out in the parking lot in Albany, and I'm just sitting there, and the phone rings, and it's her. It's been like 3.5 weeks now, and I'm just looking at it. What do you say? Like, how do you take that phone call? This is somebody that you've had such affection for. You remember, we've been talking for a year, you know, so there's like, you care about this person so much, but you're so mad, and you're so, you know, and I said, hello, like, not passive aggressive, I just answered the phone, and I was like, I remembered I was really concerned. How are you? What's going on? And the voice on the other end of the line was one of the darkest voices I've ever heard. She was really low tone, monotone, and she said she'd been drinking for weeks and weeks. Right after I left, she had just been on this binge, and she never wanted to tell me about it, but that's her and whiskey, and that's just what happens. And she didn't know she could stop, and she was in her apartment, and she was really sorry, but I'm sorry, but I'm not the right one for you. You deserve better than me, and blah, blah, blah. It was just a really dark conversation. And really, as a grown-up, there's only one thing you can say to that call, which is, okay. Right? What else do you say? You argue with them? Beg them? Go chase after them? And at that point, I said, okay, and it was just really sad. And that was the end, and that's the truth. And that's what that song is about. I tried to tell, I tried to send it to her and be like, I got this song.
Okay, we need a Disney song now. We gotta have something light.